I no longer love him. As much as it pains me to say, when I look in his eyes, all I see is the same cowardice that I catch when I take a glimpse of my own face in the mirror.
Welcome to the Trashcats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And today we're going to get a little deep. As many people already know, Norm Macdonald recently passed away. He held his cancer a secret from his family and friends, and they didn't expect his sudden passing. It's an incredible burden to shoulder. It's a selfless act that seems so selfish to loved ones in the wake of the grieving process. So today we're going to discuss that burden and the morality behind these hard decisions. But first, Steven, how was your week?
Yeah, man, this is gonna be a tricky one. Definitely was a super bummer to hear he passed. And I think it'll be interesting to discuss the morality involved in this, and to show him some honor. You know, such a cool, funny dude. My week's been going okay. Just been grinding away on things, art and pod. I'm kind of in a weird, I was going to mention to you, I'm in a weird space right now. Have you ever had to fill out an ISP? Do you know what that is?
No.
So when you're in like therapy stuff, they make you fill out these like state mandated forms every 3 months of treatment. And they ask you the same questions every time. Like, did you use X drug? How are you feeling this way? And it's like I've filled out hundreds of these fucking things. And I just had to do a phone call one for an hour and a half after work leading into this podcast. So I'm going on like 10 hours on a computer after filling out this individual service plan. So I'm feeling crispy. It's going to be fun. It's the right headspace for this topic, I think.
Nice and crispy and fucking dead to the world.
Yeah, fuck yeah. How about you, man?
Week hasn't been too bad. So, of course, I had that kidney stone last week that fucked me up pretty bad. I was still processing one during the last recording, so that was cool. But I was fine like almost immediately afterward. But I went to the urologist and they gave me, I should have known this was a thing, but it's not really something you think about. They gave me medical grade piss jugs.
Which is awesome.
It's so fucking cool. They gave me 3 of them just in case I needed it for a 2-day 24-hour urinary analysis. But they gave me an extra one just in case. So now I kept the third one. It was like, fuck
just
it.
Just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. But, I feel like it's a showpiece, my medical grade piss jug.
In case you need your another doctor to give you a second opinion.
Yeah. And
just mail me your piss jug.
Just show up with piss. I already did the piss thing. It's okay. Just take it straight to the lab. Oh, God damn it. But other than that, since I didn't have a kidney stone this week, I was able to get a bunch of stuff done around the house, so that's been cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It's help from my cousin came over and helped me set up a light, and mom just helped me do a bunch of shit in the shed. So that's cool.
Yeah,
it's nice to get that shit done. Tomorrow I gotta do some pruning of a plant that's blocking my garage, and then
do you know what it is?
It's fucking grape leaves. Grape leaves vine set up, and it's cool. And it's like, some of it.
Are you gonna keep it?
I'm gonna keep it. I just need to trim it back.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice, pretty plant to have like along the fence line. So it's kind of like building a natural barrier.
Yeah,
so that's kind of cool.
Definitely.
Honorable mentions this week.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. The first one, this is a shout out to our buddies, our homie Dash.
Fuck yeah, Dash.
Dash does a podcast with Tyler, and it is called Movie Time Extra. They're on Spotify. I think they're on other ones too, but Spotify for sure. It's just movie, space, time, space, extra, exclamation mark, and Dash and Tyler cover movies. Their about is two friends that love movies but hate each other, sit and talk about films and have a little something extra, or a lot, depending. And they cover like cool movies, like some indie stuff, and then like just weird ones, like Uncut Gems, or let's see, Uncut Gems, Guns Akimbo was a good one, Inception, but they're all over the map with weird movies, and it's fun. I just started checking them out this week, and it's been great to listen to, so definitely want to shout them out.
You know, how I mentioned before, David, a longtime friend of mine. I've known him since 7th grade.
Yeah.
Me and Dash go back to 2nd grade.
Yeah, I didn't know that when you first told me. That's so funny, man.
Fuck yeah, man.
Dash's the dude. What's up, Dash?
Also, you said Guns Akimbo. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I haven't seen it yet. I kind of wanted to.
That's a Ricky movie.
All of his Radcliffe's fucking indie movie shits. I like them all so far.
Same. Him and Nick Cage have that same vibe where each of them do like 2 or 3 indie movies a year that are like totally weird, independent art movies. And Guns Akimbo is a fun one. It's dumb, but it's a fun movie.
I was kind of worried about that for him after Harry Potter. Like, how do you shake that?
That's a great way to do it.
Yeah, he nailed it. He's doing a great job.
Fuck yeah.
So I have an honorable this week. I'm going to interrupt yours with.
Go for it.
So my Aunt Diane,
yes.
I guess technically she's my cousin. It's my mom's cousin. It's a cousin twice removed.
I never know how to do that.
I forget how that shit works. I always knew her as Aunt Diane. She's an artist, and she's been absolutely crushing it. She's you painted like most of her life, I guess, and she did a lot more like realism stuff. But recently, like just within the last few years or so, she took an abstract painting class because it was the only one available, and she just wanted to do something new, and she fell in love with it. And she does. I'm on, recording now as saying like fuck abstract bullshit, but like she does really cool stuff because it's actually based on something and it makes sense. And you can like kind of see it. But it's her color work and stuff. It really is awesome. She does a lot of work that's based on like it's abstract from like turtle tracks in the sand at like the beach and like various other things. But like that's one of her main subjects. You can find her work on Instagram. She's at Diane V Radel Art. That's DianeVradel.art.
Yeah, we'll have links on the Instagram, Facebook, as always. Honestly, I almost didn't like the turtle description, and of course, like you have to be skeptical when someone's like, my family member does abstract art, right?
Right, yeah.
You always have to be. And dude, I really like her stuff. It's her colors. Like,
yeah, her color choices are excellent.
It's iridescent. She gets cool patterns and stuff.
I think that the photos of her work, as cool as they are, they definitely don't do the actual paintings any justice.
That's fair.
They're amazing pictures to see in person, and like my mom's got a couple pieces from her. I've gotten a couple prints from her, and they just look incredible as like on the wall when you're looking at them. It's really nice.
Yeah.
She did one piece of that was a like a still life, kind of not a still life, I guess that's different, but it was a painting of the Dali Museum, and that's like one of my favorite places. So I saw that, I was like, I need a print of that for sure.
Yeah, and we say all the time, fuck abstract art, but we both love a lot of abstract art.
Yeah,
there's exceptions.
It's because there's so much garbage out there, and even she was like, wasn't into abstract art going into it, but it was like just something that was available and something different for her to try, and something new, and she really fell in love with it because she's able to express herself in different ways, and that she wasn't able to, that she wasn't finding that she liked doing before. So, yeah, shouts out to Aunt Diane. You're crushing it. She's in galleries all over the place right now, and her work is going crazy.
Exciting.
Yeah, she's really talented.
I as soon as I saw her stuff, I made the comparison to that artist Malvada, or however you say the name. Did you check that artist out by any chance?
Did you send? Oh yeah, that's one you sent to me when we were talking about her. Yeah.
It's I think it's a woman artist, but just digital abstract stuff. But it reminds me of like acrylic versions of that. Is she acrylic? I'm assuming.
I think she's oil.
Oil.
I don't actually know that part.
It's similar stuff where the patterns are interesting, but the colors are just so unique. Yeah, so cool. So, definitely check out DianeVRadel.art. We'll have the link on Instagram. For sure. All right. Next one. Do you got any more? Should I run these?
Nope, that's it.
All right, I'll run these real quick. So, this second one, we're going to play a fucking awesome song at the end of the episode for an outro. It's metal and brutal as fuck, and it's by a metal music project called the Alex Jones Prison Planet.
It's fucking great.
Dash sent this to me, so thanks for sharing, Dash. I wanted to get you and the Alex Jones music on the same episode. Yeah. So this music, dude, this stuff's so brutal. All the samples are from that demon, Alex Jones, and it's all set to some brutal metal music that could be like an amazing album on its own, but it's like both funny, brutal, and makes fun of Alex Jones, so I fucking love it. So we're going to play that at the end of the episode as our outro, and the last one, I just want to shout out, he'll know who I'm talking about. I want to shout out my goose buddy on Reddit. I appreciate your support, dude. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Goose Buddy. That's who we might play some Halo with one of these days.
Oh, dope. Yeah. That's the boy.
All right. Should we do it?
Yeah, man. So first, let's talk about Norm Macdonald. Norman Jean Macdonald was a stand-up comedian, writer, and actor, best known for his deadpan style. He was born on October 17th, 1959, and raised in Quebec City. His parents were both teachers that worked at a military base north of Quebec City. Macdonald's father died in 1990 of a heart disease. He had an older brother, Neil Macdonald, who was a journalist, and a younger brother named Leslie. Early in his career, he wrote for the sitcom Roseanne. In 1993, Macdonald was hired as a writer and cast member on Saturday Night Live, spending a total of 5 seasons on the show, which included anchoring the show's Weekend Update segment for 3.5 seasons, during which time he also made the guest appearances on shows like Drew Carey Show and News Radio. After leaving SNL, he wrote and starred in the 1998 film Dirty Work and headlined his own sitcom The Norm Show from 1999 to 2001.
Yeah, I did not know he did Roseanne.
Actually, I did know that. I forgot about it until we put this together, but I actually did know that.
Yeah, I didn't. I
just worked Dirty Work for the first time a couple days ago.
How was it?
It's really good. It's a funny ass movie. Yeah, it's him and Artie Lang.
I hate Roseanne, and I love it.
That movie has so many not cameos, but like random like famous ass celebrities in it that are comedians and stuff that show up, and it's fucking really good.
Oh yeah. In 2013, Macdonald started the video podcast chat show Norm Macdonald Live, on which he interviewed comedians and other celebrities. In 2018, he released Norm Macdonald Has a Show, a Netflix talk show with a similar premise to his podcast. Throughout his career, he appeared in numerous movies and was a regular favorite comedian panelist of talk show hosts such as Conan O'Brien, David Letterman, Dennis Miller, and Howard Stern, with many considering him to be the ultimate late-night comedy guest. He was also a voice actor, best known for providing voice roles in Mike Tyson's Mysteries, The Orville, and Dr. Dolittle films.
Dude, Mike Tyson Mysteries. Dude, it's such a good fucking show.
I actually haven't seen that one.
It's fucking hilarious.
I really love anything Mike Tyson related, man. Holy shit.
It's made by Hanna-Barbera shit.
Is that the one that's animated with the pigeon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep wanting to check it out.
It's worth it. It's a good watch.
Oh, yeah.
In early 1998, Don Ohlmeyer, president of NBC's West Coast division, had Macdonald removed as Weekend Update anchor, citing a decline in ratings and a drop-off in quality. Macdonald was replaced by Colin Quinn at the Weekend Update desk beginning on January 10th, 1998 episode. On the January 10th episode. Macdonald believes at the time that the true reason for his dismissal was the series of O.J. Simpson jokes during and after the trial, frequently calling him a murderer. Ohlmeyer was a good friend of Simpson and supported him during the proceedings. After being removed from the role, Macdonald went on CBS's Late Night with David Letterman and Howard Stern's syndicated radio show. In both appearances, he accused Ohlmeyer of firing him for making jokes about Simpson. The jokes were written primarily by Macdonald and longtime SNL writer Jim Downey, who was fired from SNL at the same time. Downey pointed out in an interview that Ohlmeyer threw a party for the jurors who acquitted Simpson.
Wow. Can you imagine defending Simpson over and over again, and then he puts out that fucking book?
Yeah.
He's like, well, if I did it.
Right.
What a piece of shit. Dude, his...
Didn't he, try to rob a casino or some shit?
No, he stole back his memorabilia.
Okay.
He became, hooked on crack, and he, needed money, and some dude stole his old football memorabilia, and then he robbed the dude back, and I think it was, an armed robbery. Then he went back to prison, and he's back out. Now he's, popular on TikTok or Twitter or whatever the fuck.
Oh, is he out of prison?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he's doing, little YouTube videos hey, I know I'm back. And he'll, comment on some random thing going on in the news. And it, it's so ridiculous.
Get an O.J. Simpson cameo for the podcast.
I think he's on Cameo, and I think we could do that.
Just get him to say, hey, guys, I really like the Trashcats.
All right. We're looking into that after this. Macdonald said his past gambling addiction had been in...
That did it for you?
Cut to no preface. Just he said that his past gambling addiction had been initiated by a 6-figure win at craps table in Atlantic City. In an appearance on the What the Fuck with Mark Maron podcast in 2011, Macdonald revealed that he had lost all of his money gambling 3 times, and the largest amount he lost all at once was $400,000. As a poker player, his best live result was cashing for $20,915 in the $1,000 Bellagio weekend tournament in July of 2006. In the 2007 World Series of Poker, he came in 20th place out of 827 entrants in the $3,000 No Limits Texas Hold'em event, winning $14,000 some dollars. He also frequently played live cash games as well as online poker. Macdonald stated in a 2018 interview prior to the ruling in the United States versus Schweinberg, which is when online poker got banned, he would play up to 20 online limit hold'em games at once. Since they went online, it kind of saved my life because I was just grinding out and couldn't even sleep. That's brutal.
Yeah, that is brutal. I was going to take out the part about his gambling thing, but he talks about it a lot. He talked about it a lot, and I thought that some of those figures were pretty wild.
Yeah, it's part of his character. He's got a little addictive edge to him.
Yeah.
Makes him who he is, And despite all his losses, he always came back. And no matter what project he was working on, he always evolved his career into something new, from stand-up to acting, hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and then he was even a spokesperson for Safe Auto Insurance.
I didn't know he was the host of Millionaire.
I don't think he did it long. But I think he did a season or something. But I remember seeing him on that in commercials. I was like, what the fuck? I definitely didn't know about Safe Auto.
Mm-hmm. So
We did not work on these transitions. Read this next sentence.
Yeah. We can make it work somehow.
It's way funnier this way.
So McDonald died from acute. He would think this is funny. McDonald died from acute leukemia at a hospital in Pasadena, California on September 14th, 2021, at the age of 61. He had been diagnosed 9 years prior, though he disclosed his diagnosis to only few close friends and family members, fearing that the publicity discussing his health would affect the way he was perceived. Many comedians publicly mourned him.
McDonald's close friend, Lori Jo Hostra, who was with McDonald when he died, was adamant about keeping his diagnosis from family, friends, and fans. He only shared it with a handful of people. Hoekstra, McDonald's longtime producing partner, told Deadline in a statement he was most proud of his comedy. He never wanted the diagnosis to affect the way the audience or any of his loved ones saw him. Norm was a pure comic. He once wrote that a joke should catch someone by surprise. It should never pander. He certainly never pandered. Norm will be missed terribly. Those are beautiful words.
It really is.
It's. I know we're gonna get into it, but it is so abnormal and wild that he didn't tell people.
Yeah.
I know we don't fully know how much of his immediate family he did or didn't tell, but a lot of the people close to him are reporting that he didn't tell his whole immediate family.
Part of his New York Times obituary article read, when the news broke in the afternoon, every white guy my age used the occasion of Norm's death to pass around all-time clips of him doing jokes that only Norm Macdonald could have ever pulled off, and to earnestly note that Norm taught them how to be ironic. These were very nice tributes. He was a comedian's comedians, all that tired shit. It's just that there isn't a man on earth who would have disdained a nice tribute more than Norm Macdonald, a man who abhorred sentimentality almost as much as he abhorred O.J. Simpson. If you really admired Norm, you would have said, actually, I never cared for the man.
That's so on point.
Yeah. That's very, very much his vibe.
That's part of what is so great about him. Like he had one of those like affects where like he just seemed like a shitty person, which like because it was so like negative and deadpan, like it when you're like so hardcore that way, it almost makes you beloved by like a bigger audience. I really loved his the podcast show, the Norm Macdonald Live, that he would have people on there and it's just his delivery for shit. He would read off these awful, terrible, like offensive jokes. And like you could just see the disgust on some people's faces. Like sometimes they can't help but laugh because of his delivery. That's outstanding.
And it's just great. It's like things that like literally only he can do and get away with.
Especially during this whole period of time where the rules around comedy have been changing so much, and he always stuck to his guns and did whatever the fuck he wanted, and he really could get away with it. And that sounds like such a cliche point, but it is like a thing.
Yeah. And all the while, carrying the weight of, this burden of knowing that you're going to die soon, and like doing that while keeping other people laughing, putting on that, the brave face thing. Like it's hard. And I know that's a thing with like comedians in general too, is like
definitely,
the sad clown behind the thing. That's like a whole motif, I guess, is you see in a lot of comedians that are like, they're always on, and like making people laugh, and, they look like they're happy. And then there's that, but like, and this isn't the case with that so much, but like keeping yourself and other people laughing when there is a darkness that's, knowing what you know inside.
Yeah, it's Joker vibes. No, he had already like reached his peak, right? Like he had cancer, what, he knew for 9 years?
I don't think he knew that long, did he?
I think I saw something that said he had known for the last 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I mean, he had already
That's wild.
He had built his career already, but he knew for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
he was still doing a lot of things. He didn't really slow down.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
And it's a lot. So let's talk about this. So like I said, there's the burden of knowing that you have a shorter time left than you expect. The hard part is like, when does the grieving actually start? Like you start to like, because you go through those feelings of grief, those stages of grief for yourself. Like it happens, like even when you have like, just get bad news, like, something that you were really looking forward to, like you still have to like come to accept it and then whatever, so it's got to begin with shock, because there's I can't imagine what it's like to hear, to know that, you're dying, and then just, there's no way that you just adapt to it like that quickly. It's like there's got to be a whole step in between that.
Your whole life is different in a single moment.
Yeah.
It's but I don't know, like I know we're going to try to like flush this apart more, but I don't know if like I don't think clearly how he chose to handle this, the people close to him don't know either. Only he would know, but like I don't know if like you keep it a secret like that out of denial, or if you did truly accept it. Like who knows where along that process of if he grieved or mourned himself at all, or if he was just full speed ahead.
Yeah. And if it's something that he knew about for, that long, it could have been like, it started off as like a small thing and he didn't want to worry people, so he didn't bring it up. And then as it got worse, you think like, well, I don't want to scare him now.
Right. I've already known for I see how you could get trapped into not being able to share it.
Yeah, exactly. And part of the entire grieving process is like, you share the burden so that you lighten the load on yourself. Like so many, like that's the way that we do. It's like, you asked me a few episodes ago if I had any like dark secrets, and it's like, I super don't. Like I'm an open book, for like my own life and stuff. And I feel like that's partially, it's like therapy for me. Like I talk about things. I voice my thoughts and my struggles, and it helps me figure it out myself in my head. It only seems natural to tell someone else. Like, at least to me, it just seems natural to tell someone else when like there's something, life-changing, life-altering going on for you. Like you want the people involved in your life to know what's happening. You want to keep them informed, and you don't want to lie to them.
Yeah, I feel like it would be almost like a form of torture not to be able to share that. Like, I don't know if he did or where his choice fell on the matter. I just don't, I want to be careful not to speak for what I think he felt or not. So if I do, just ignore it. I'm just, exploring.
That's, I think for me, like I'm exploring more of like how I would feel. Yeah. Like I'm trying to, I consider myself pretty empathetic, and like I'm trying to put myself into that position, those shoes. And it's not a concept I'm really new to. Like we'll talk about that later too, but like I don't, like just exploring the concept of like why people, not even why, but like how people are able to do that. Cause it just seems so difficult to me.
I feel like it really would be like torturous, but I also see the value in it, but I also see like all these articles about him have been very interesting, because there's a couple articles that have specifically addressed it, but for the most part, they're almost like just a normal death article of a celebrity. But you'll find one or two lines about how he didn't tell people, And then you see these other articles that are like, hey, that was kind of shitty of him. Like, if I see there's a darkness to that as well. And without knowing him, like, if it's just somebody else, like, I don't know, if somebody I cared for did that, I would probably feel pretty hurt. I think it's a very complicated thing.
Yeah. And so like the reasons why people can do it, this is from my own perspective. Obviously never talked to someone that did it because I didn't know them then, knew that it happened and it was until it was too late. But, when people know that they're ill, they treat you differently. They speak of you differently, but most importantly, they think of you differently. Every occasion you spend together, all the time spent then is time spent thinking that like this may be the last time I get to see this person, or we have to do all these things before they don't get the chance to anymore. There's like a pressure to make it special and do things differently and live like you're dying. But there's also, you got to be like there's a sadness and a turmoil that you don't want, you don't want to see your family mourn you while you're still here. You want to live life like you're with your loved ones being happy around you and not being sad. And, I imagine that's what I would want to see. Like, it would be such a stress on its own to see, to watch your family suffer while while you're going through it. And it's like, I want to see the people I love happy.
Yeah. And in that sense, like, sparing your family that grief is an honorable thing in many ways, but it's almost one of those things you're deciding that they don't get to decide, in the sense of like, you're sparing them the grief, right? But you're not giving them the time to mourn you, and you're denying yourself that chance also.
Yeah.
And kind of what you're saying earlier, like, we're both very open, but like, I feel like it's not uncommon when you just see people oversharing. Like, there's a real fine line of balancing private and like public thoughts and speech, right? Mm-hmm. And just like people can't unsee like a chronic illness with a death diagnosis kind of thing. I've in my life experienced people that those really heavy things like sexual assault or like addiction or things that are like really heavy in nature, I feel like, or a cancer diagnosis, they're things I think you still should be open with to the people you love, but you have to be very careful choosing who you share those things, like to guard them a little bit, because it does make you vulnerable. And even though it's not fair and the person you're sharing with could love you just as much, it really does change people's perceptions.
Yeah.
So I fully think and fully believe in honesty and openness, but you do have to choose those people wisely.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
And the other part that I think is wild is like, it's so like why people do it, but like how they do it. It's got to be one of the most difficult things, I think, especially when you're famous. It's like another level of shit. And you can't tell anybody, because then like if it leaks somewhere, if someone knows something and it just gets overheard or whatever, then suddenly everyone knows. Yeah. And anyone even like close to you that didn't hear about it, they're going to read about it somewhere else. And that's not the way you want them to find out.
No.
So,
that can run so quick. People always say like, oh, if they were in that celebrity's shoes, they would have done things differently or whatever. The reality is like, we don't really have any idea of what their daily life is like, or what being in these positions of prestige or power, whatever, is like. It's an
influence of having so many eyes on you all the time.
Yeah. And in regards to the how, I think I really do think the same reasons he didn't tell people he was dying, whatever those were to him, I think they're the same reasons he was so fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's, for me, I think it's hard to imagine, based off his whole energy, that there wasn't some bitterness or anger there, but he could have been very at peace too. I could see
he was Canadian. He had no anger.
You don't think he was angry off his comedy?
Nah.
Dude, I don't know. When I think of comedians like that, I think like it, because, right? Like, I love what he does. I wouldn't want those things to change for him unless he wanted them to change. But like, when I see a comedian that's super deadpan and has like the smirk and it's almost like passive aggressive jokes, right? Mm-hmm. That is like severe anger to me under the mask, and I love it.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
You don't think that's anger?
No, I don't think that's anger at all. At least not in his case. I feel like it's all.
Really?
It's like a super tongue. At least the energy I got from Norm Macdonald is like it's a super tongue in cheek, like
it's tongue in cheek while holding an axe behind your shoulder.
No, I think it's like rage. It's the whole he's a comedian's comedian thing. It's like there's layers to a joke, and like he could tell, some of the jokes he told were like, technically it's like it's not a good joke at all, but it was because of his delivery and the way that he did it that it was like it made it funny. It's like the irony of it, and like I think that look is more like a you see what I'm doing here kind of thing.
There is that dichotomy. Like I feel like there is some sort of spikiness. I feel like there is an anger, but he also was like very playful, and I think that's kind of like the balance. I could see him going either way. I feel like half of like good comedians, I could see them like bringing the world together in peace, or like just murdering people.
They've seen the darkness in all of us.
Yeah,
that's what they're here for.
Fuck yeah, yeah, he was so good.
So like I was saying, like it's the keeping it a secret. It's got to be like one of the hardest secrets to keep, especially if you're seeing doctors and stuff, and like you have to have an excuse prepared each time you have like a medical visit, even if you liken it to like even if you think about it, like when you're about to quit your job and move away or something, and just like for the thinking of like something more relatable, not that it's the same thing at all. It's incredible pressure to make plans and pretending that you'll be there for the next meeting and, whatever, that staff party on Friday or whatever. And you're trying to do the Irish goodbye thing where you get the fuck out the door. Can I get canceled for saying Irish goodbye? That's like a saying, right?
Yeah, I think that's a thing. I always like calling it the George Costanza. Costanza. You leave on your best joke. Like at any point during a party, dinner, whatever, as soon as you make a really good joke that everybody likes, you leave immediately without saying anything. Like that's the best you could do for the night. You have to pull Costanza and leave right away. You're telling half truths just to conceal the fact that you don't want a going away party. You don't want all the cards and the gifts and the sympathy and stuff like that. You just want to spend your time there like it's another average day. You want everyone to think that it's just a normal, average work day and go about it so that you can, be done with it and you had that experience and then you go. It's like that's the way I liken it in my head because it's relatable, but it's like it could be way easier to hide though. For him, like for someone famous, right? Like, because their schedules are busy all the time. They have money. They have people that can lie for them for other reasons. Like, you have a lot more resources to work with that.
Maybe, yeah.
But it would be, I don't think we'll ever find out, but it would be interesting to know if my 9-year thing, I'm going to look that up in a sec. If that's correct, I wonder if he was doing treatments or not. Like, knowing if he was combating his illness or not puts a different light on things.
Yeah, I feel like especially if he was like doing chemo or something, like you can see that shit. That's visible in a very strong way. This fucking chemo is awful.
I feel like there were some pictures of him that came out that he didn't look so great. I don't know if anybody picked up on it earlier.
I feel like, there's also the people that like, you work with on a daily basis, like he had shows and stuff, and like, it's like you're seeing these people every day. How are these people not seeing that you're sick or something, I mean, I guess it's not that they don't see it. It's it becomes a normal thing. And it's like, when you're with somebody all the time, you don't realize small, all the changes if it happens in increments, but you go away for a while and you come back and see him again. It's like, oh, wow, you're like a different person.
Yeah. No, he did keep it private for 9 years.
Wow.
More than 9 years, nearly a decade. And we won't ever truly know who he told or not, but I can't imagine not telling your wife, right?
Yeah.
It's betrayal in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I don't know who all did know. I know,
right?
Of course, some people close to him did. But it's like then it's like, how long did they know?
Right. And regardless who did or didn't know, it is definitely not my place to judge, right?
Well, of course, yeah.
That's definitely between those relationships. I just know if I was in something similar, someone I loved was, depending on the nature of a relationship, I would expect that,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what relationships like that are for, is like help share certain burdens, I feel like. At least I feel like that's part of it.
Yeah.
And and you touched on this earlier. Like when, after you have kept it a secret, like how do you back out of it? So like it becomes harder to tell the truth. So it's like when you think about like when you tell a lie and it snowballs over time, and it's so much harder to back out of it. Like, how do you tell people that you love, not only are you dying, but you've known about it and you kept a secret and lied to them for like months or years, or, that pressure, like if I could imagine that, like that pressure only gets stronger. And though, maybe it starts to feel like more normal as time goes on. Like you just come to like, this is the response I give for this kind of thing. I don't know. It's hard to think about. I'm not much into the lying game. I'm really shitty at lying. So I can't imagine that kind of pressure like spread out amongst all that time. It's a foreign concept to me.
Yeah. I was a weird mix. Like when I was using, I lied a lot, but I always was honest too. But
those are two contradictory statements.
They are, but they're, in a way, like I feel like you can tell the truth without ever telling a specific lie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like with drugs, you could be like, yeah, I was using, but you're not like, hey, this is where I was when this happened, or how I got the money for the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like you can still keep it honest, but like keep things secret. But
half-truths.
Yeah. But there's ways to, like, when something's that important that you want to hide, or I don't know, I think lying can come much easier, especially after you get 9 years of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were things with gambling too, to lose all your money multiple times over, right? Like he was a very stubborn and innovative person to be able to come back from for those things to happen more than once and to always come back from it. Like he found ways to adjust the things, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think he was done gambling by that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we listened to something where he said he quit altogether at some point.
Yeah. In the end, I think it's noble. Like you said, I think it's a noble act. It's, maybe it's different depending on the circumstances, but it's already known that, your family's going to grieve when you're gone. And the sudden shock of your death it's another pain, like that sudden shock that your family, it's a whole different thing But the time spent with someone and the memories of them will be genuine. And it's not memories of them sick and dying, but instead, it's memories as they were. And that's how people want to be remembered, I think.
In the end, here's a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Not that it ever happens, but in the end, shouldn't the person who they loved, right? Like, you die without letting someone know you're sick. Shouldn't the people that loved you the most in the end get to decide if it was moral or not? Like, yeah. if I let my wife, whatever, like, I die and don't tell my wife, in the end, like, at first she might be so angry, she might never forgive you for it. Maybe 5 years later she does. Like, I don't know who gets to decide that except the people that were closest.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that. Because I think it's different for each situation. But I think people that go off, the topic in general of people doing this, and people go off and they'll say, like, it's really fucked up, and it's like, I get that and I get why you think that, but there are times when it's not that way. I think you're 100% right, though. It's not up to the general public. It's about it's about the family and the people that are close to the person. Like, those are the people whose opinion matters.
Yeah.
So, it's wild shit. It's and like I said, I have some experience with it in general. My Aunt Sue did this as well. We knew that she had cancer, but we didn't know that it was getting worse. I don't know all the details. I was kind of young. And from what I understand, though, she would like show us like fake medical documents that showed the family, like fake documents that showed that it was getting better. And we even had like the family's doctor, like all my aunts all went to the same doctor. He couldn't tell anybody either. Like, he's been like with the family for years and he couldn't talk to them, which was also really sucked, but
lose his license.
Yeah. So what I do remember is one day I was getting ready for school, and as I'm like getting ready to walk out the door to go to catch the bus, my aunt gets a phone call, and I hear her. She just yells, "What?" And she runs and like grabs her keys, and like she was also like getting kind of ready to leave for the day, and I just kind of hear her yelling, and she doesn't really seem to know what's going on either, and so she didn't tell me. I don't even know if she even told me that Aunt Sue collapsed, or I don't even think she said that to me. I think she just said to someone that she had to go to the hospital or something.
It's weird going back to those kind of memories.
Yeah, trying to place like we talked about. It's like this memories that I knew that I found out later, and I'm piecing them back together. And it's like, did I really learn that part then, or did I learn it later?
I know for myself with things like that, it's like, it's really just a blur, but it's a story you tell yourself over and over what happened, and it gets very confusing.
Yeah. And I don't even remember. I'm trying to think if my mom was even in Cincinnati or not. I think she might have been in Florida at the time. I don't really remember. I know that she wasn't there in the morning. And I don't even remember if I stayed at school all that day or not. I think I might have left early, but I had to do that a couple times for people that had died or people that were sick or something, so I'm not even sure if I'm remembering that right. But afterward, we found out that she had collapsed that morning, and she had been getting worse this whole time, and she didn't tell anybody. But she was gone at that point. She was It was vegetative, at best, and they had her in hospice, and yeah, she just wasn't there anymore. Technically her body was still alive, but just not there. So we went to the hospital afterward, and that's unfortunately that's my memory of my Aunt Sue. Like, I have others, obviously, but when I think of my Aunt Sue, that's the one I go to. Is in hospice.
It's so fucking shitty, because that's like part of the whole reason she hid things too. But
yeah.
Those, like, seeing someone you love, like, in those settings, it's so fucking cruel. Our brain does that to make those things stand out so much. It's
and I'd recently talked to a friend of mine about that. Their grandpa was sick and in the hospital, and they were like, knew that he didn't have much time left, and the family was going, and someone was trying to make her feel bad because she didn't want to go to the hospital. And it was like, it's not like they were really super close with their grandpa. They just, they'd called and talked on the phone on holidays or whatever, and that was really it. And but they didn't want to make the trip to go see him in the hospital because that's not how they wanted to remember them. And I told them, like, I super don't blame you for that. Like, that's your own decision you have to make, but I support that decision. That's a good call.
That's what I did with my grandma. It's shitty. There's like regrets either way.
Exactly. I can definitely support anyone that makes that. I guess not anyone that makes that decision, but I understand why you wouldn't, and I'd say don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. So how did you feel? How did you and your family feel?
Well,
about your aunt?
So first it's shock, right? Because especially because we knew that she was sick, but she was telling us that she was like getting better, and it's fine, and it's not a big deal, and then just all of a sudden find out that no, it's been getting significantly worse, despite treatments and stuff. So, and then to have it all happen so suddenly. And like even her husband that she had been with for many years, with she didn't tell him.
Damn.
No one knew. So going through with the process of informing everyone. I remember that being, luckily I said I was younger at the time, so I didn't have to be part of that. But I'm seeing my family going through in shock still, trying to process this, but then also having to make all these phone calls to anyone that wants to come up to hospice, and then taking my grandma up there, and she was already, getting pretty deep into some dementia, and taking her up there, she doesn't understand what she's there for.
Right.
She doesn't have any idea. And then, you tell her, but then fucking 10, 15 minutes later, she's asking again, who's sick? Why are we here?
Yeah. It's like a chain reaction of shock and confusion, right?
Yeah. And I think that set apart or set in emotion. Cause for, a while after that, we would, until my grandmother died, really, there would be plenty of times where she would, I think it actually, I want to say it stopped at a certain point. She would ask about, it's she knew something was wrong. She would either ask about her aunt or her daughter, or she would ask about something, or but we had a portrait on the wall. And I think that also, she would look at it, and I think she knew something was wrong. She just didn't know what. And I feel now I remember that she just stopped asking at a certain point, and I don't know if that's actually true or it just became normal. But we had to tell her all the time again that her daughter had died, and that sucked.
Do you feel like having to after someone dies that you love, it's always those first handful of times having to say it out loud to someone else is like really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something about like repeating it that either makes it better or worse?
Kind of. To a degree. I'd say yes, but also like you can overdo that.
Yeah.
Where you begin to dwell on it, and because it's like over time also. I think that correlates with time.
It's like peeling a scab where like,
yeah,
if it comes back, in theory you can heal from it, but if it's too often, the wound gets worse kind of thing. Like you have to have time to let it.
And you do have to, that's the shittiest part of grief is like you do have to move on. And there's the part of you that's like, I'm not ready to, like when you're going through that, it's like I want to be, but I'm not ready to, and it's like I'm not there yet. It's it is slowed down, I think, by the shock. When something's really sudden or it's traumatic. It's harder that way because there's also like, there's still so many unknowns of like, what have they been thinking over this time? Like what was the burden that they were going through? What's all this, all the unknown stuff. And like, you just have to stop yourself because you can't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
That's the one. It's like, you're never going to get these answers. You have to stop thinking about it. You have to stop dwelling on it. And I know, I feel like for my family in particular, what she did was better, than to tell everyone, because, my family is, especially on my mom's side is all really close. Like there's just lots of brothers and sisters and cousins, and I feel like it would have been so much stress over time that she didn't want to deal with. And like, her and her husband went to New Orleans all the time, and like they partied, and, if she was open about her illnesses, then they might not have, about how bad they were, then they might not have done as many fun things. Cause they would have been more concerned about like making sure she's more in the hospital and stuff like that. And like, but I don't know if it would have made a difference, and she just wanted to live her life. And
yeah, that's what I was going to ask, is if you like, so you're saying maybe it was the best thing for the family. Like, it's impossible to know. Maybe it was for the best for the family, but do you wish you would have known? I know that's a really hard question.
No, I think the way she did it was I liked that. I even, I feel like having that, those last holidays and stuff together was better because I didn't know. Spending that time with her was better because I didn't know.
It didn't take away like the innocence of those memories.
No, exactly. So I think overall in our family, for our situation, it was, at least for me, it was better. Once again, I was younger, and, I don't know. My other members of my family might respond differently, but, I think everyone at least understands why she did it.
Would it be different if it was like a partner, like a spouse?
Yeah.
I think that, like, I see that as maybe the one person that maybe in the end I could forgive for it, but man, I would be so angry. I would be so angry.
Her husband, Uncle Dave. He, I honestly, I don't think he ever recovered from that though. Cause they were really, really close. Like they worked together. They, like I said, they traveled a lot together. I honestly think he died of a broken heart. It was years later, and he is, I don't know. Yeah, he come around the house, come around every now and then. It was good to see him. He always, seemed to be in decent spirits enough, but you could just tell that there was something. So, he lost her, and it was like, he wasn't right anymore.
Yeah. It's a severed piece of yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like knowing that about, and this isn't about your family. I just feel like knowing what the people you love would want is so important.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's a hard burden to put on some people. Like you spare some people, and then other people it can be, so much. I wouldn't want to have to carry it by myself, but I also wouldn't want to risk how it could play out with people either.
Right.
But I feel like we'll take it a different way. Do you feel like the person has an obligation to tell anyone? Like a moral or personal obligation? You think it's their life, they get to choose if they share that?
I do think that. That they get to choose. It's their own choice. It's just, and it's not a decision that's going to be right every time, obviously.
Yeah.
Because there are so many factors to it, of like you said, of like it's like maybe it's better for family, or maybe it's better for these people, but like for everybody, it's not going to be the same reaction. It's not going to.
Right. Like the first thing that came to mind was like Norm had kids, and I think the exception to that is they were older. They were much older,
Yeah.
But like, I think it depends on. I don't think there's an inherent obligation, but like you said, there's so many factors. Like if you had people that relied on you being there, I think that can become an obligation.
Yeah.
And something like kids or just someone you love, like it's hard to know where that obligation lies, to what level someone relies on you. Like it's weird. Like I wouldn't think like if I was dead tomorrow, anyone would need me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like,
who the fuck am I going to do this podcast with?
You'd find a street cat. But like, you don't know till you're gone who needed you how much,
Yeah. And
it's a hard thing to decide for people.
Yeah. I think that, boy, I had a point and I lost it. The obligation to other people, boy, oh boy. How did I get lost on that?
Depends on how much people need you, right?
Yeah. And it's, like you said, it's different when you have kids, and it's different when you have,
hey, you got to tell your employer too.
You have to give your 2 weeks before you die.
Yeah. You got to at least push it off 2 weeks. They need you on Monday, man. Can you imagine? That would be the one person I would want to know. My boss would be like, just to let you know, I'm not going to be here long, and you can go fuck yourself. And that 2 weeks of pay, since you didn't pay me for the first 2 weeks, I'm quitting now so I can cash that last check.
I worked at a place that was notorious for like letting people go and then calling them weeks later, because like we had like a Friday coming up and we were short staffed, and You know, it's like,
That's such a dick move.
like, okay, you're fired. It's like, you know, or people that would quit, like walk out and quit, and they do the same thing. They call them back in. It's like, fuck, you gonna keep giving these people, you know, like, you know, like fuck this job, and it's like, I'll be back next week though. It's like,
That's such a bad, demoralizing precedent to set with the staff.
it is. It's so bad.
So bad.
Like nothing you do has any consequences.
Right. So like, we're really desperate. Could you come back next week?
Fucking A.
So I feel like we got at what we wanted to talk. I know we definitely pass no judgment on Norm, and I know we both love his work and respect him enough to say we didn't care for his comedy that much.
Man, he wasn't all that damn funny. Fucking love Norm Macdonald.
Is there anything anywhere you want to swing it?
Yeah,
good
you know
shit.
what? While we're, you know, kind of getting sad and depressed and upset, let me turn it into anger and turn it on goddamn recycling raccoons. You're fucking on notice.
Dishonorable mentions.
Dishonorable mention, recycling raccoons.
What are they doing?
So it's a Michigan like a recycling program thing that they use these cute pictures of raccoons in these little outfits, and they're fake little made up names, and they have you know, the different things, like one of them, Gladys Glass, fuck you Gladys, the unofficial leader of the squad. She likes clean glass, and they're talking about these raccoons digging in the trash and pulling out the recycling. They try really hard not to break glass while they're knocking over trash cans in search of a snack, and they're trying to bite our shit. I'm seeing billboards up all over town, and they're trying to come for our trash cat angle. And I'm telling you right now, you better stop that shit. You can fuck right off.
Yeah, they're gonna be facing a lawsuit before they know it, unless they sponsor us.
Yep. Let's get a sponsor from this probably state funded program.
Yeah, our first sponsor. Have you ever
sponsored by Michigan State? The first podcast sponsored by the state.
What's the closest you've ever been to a wild raccoon?
Very close. Like within kicking distance. Not that I would have kicked it, but
I've kicked a
easily within reach.
Because it scared me.
Now I don't feel good about this at all.
Uh-oh.
But I did just think of a dark secret, and it's not really a secret. It's just something I hadn't thought about in a long time. We used to go raccoon hunting in David's backyard. Sorry, I just put David on blast. In a friend's backyard. We would go raccoon hunting.
He's doing like nature conservation.
Oh my God. I can't delete that. It was a different David. It was with the cheap Walmart bought airsoft guns. It wasn't real hunting.
Right.
But they were the dumpster behind the apartment building behind his house. And
were you ever at my Hawaiian terrace spot when the raccoon gangs were out?
No.
Dude, how have I never told you? There was a whole hierarchy, right? There was dumpsters in the back lot, and these ghetto fucking apartments, man. Everyone throws their trash off their balcony on trash week, and the bags just explode into the parking lot. Every week. Dude, I'm not joking. Like, maybe 1/10 of the people.
It's not funny.
Maybe 1/10 of the people would take their bags to the dumpster, and like the other 90% would just throw them off the balcony and let them explode in the parking lot. And then everyone would park over the bags and shit. The stuff's blowing everywhere. The dumpster, dude, this is non-exaggeration numbers. In broad daylight, there would be 20 to 30 raccoons just chilling all over the dumpster. And then there were packs of feral cats, at least 20 cats. And the raccoons would scurry and grab the bags, and they would drag them over to the dumpster. And then they would go through it, find the stuff they wanted to eat, and toss the scraps to the cats. And there was the gang of raccoons and the gang of cats, and they would battle all day long over the trash. It would sustain them for the whole week. And then there was another gang that was encroaching in on their territory at night, and it was the skunks. And you would try to get out to your car, and there would be 7 skunks at a time, and they'd box you in, and you'd have to zip in and out of the It was so crazy, man. Broken glass and trash everywhere.
My only experience with Hawaiian Terrace was my yellow bus would go through there to pick up kids.
Ooh, that's
on
rough.
the way to school.
Dude, we had 10 murders and 2 body dumps in the first year I was there.
Jesus God.
SWAT team comes every Thursday, and you could count 1,000 rounds being shot a week. It was a fucking riot, dude. Oh, man.
Jesus Christ.
The raccoons made it fun, though.
Yeah, I bet. That was the lively part.
You could feed them.
Trash collection agency.
Yeah. You just get faded and feed raccoons all night.
Immediately when I laughed so hard when you said they just throw the trash out. It was like, I'm thinking like Trailer Park Boys shit. How like when they like got stuff and they need to like get it off the lawn or whatever, they just throw it on top of the house, just on top of the trailer.
You'd see people do it without looking, and it would just slam onto a hood of a car. Just explode. Car alarms going off. It was the most reckless shit.
Oh, God damn.
Oh, God.
Oh, we needed that laugh.
Oh, fuck. So fun.
Well, so, yeah, recycling raccoons are on notice.
We got a laugh in. Oh, my dishonorable mention. All this stuff going on in Texas, trying to repeal Roe vs. Wade. I'm going to say, this is a bold one. Fuck the entire state of Texas.
I'd like to second that motion.
The entire state. Everyone in it.
Yeah.
If you listen to us, stop listening.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all can do better. It's fucked up.
That's great, man. We got like 2 more months before shit changes. There's pushback, but shit's gonna get wild, man.
Fucking A.
We need better honorable.
Yeah, no, those were dishonorables.
Yeah, but we need a good way to
transition.
Yeah,
transition. Well, thanks again for listening. Fuck everybody in Texas, but hey, thanks everybody for listening.
And Norm died of lymphoma.
Yeah. And leukemia. Well, to be fair, most of that was taken from Wikipedia, and maybe we could have cushioned it a bit more, but
just a little bit.
We'll do some more work next time. Next time we'll do better, guys. I promise.
Yeah, we're trying. We got some cool stuff coming up, though. I got another one for you. I found this paper about the one spot it's a real crime statistics paper.
The G spot.
Not quite. It's more like the M spot.
The P spot?
M for murder. There's one spot in the United States where there's no jurisdiction to hold court if a murder is committed there.
Oh.
And we got some volumetric capture. We got a special Halloween topic. We got some cool stuff coming.
Yeah. Should be good shit.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yep. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thank you, John. Finish the album.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trashcats Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. You can definitely check out Facebook for the memes.
For the memes. If you're bored, you can check out my trashy art on Instagram at Skyzix, SKYZSEX. Finally got something new up there. And
I'm copying this down here for you.
User features. Yeah, special shout out to Dash and Tyler. Check out their podcast, Movie Time Extra! Exclamation mark on Spotify, and I think some other ones. And
check out Aunt Diane's art on Diane v. Raydell Art.
Yes.
On Instagram, we'll have a link for that.
So I'm really glad you shared her stuff. And then this last one, we're going to play the Alex Jones Prison Planet as our outro, so stick around. And
yeah, tune in next Wednesday for our episode on we're doing
freestyle.
I'm sorry? Oh yeah, freestyle
right?
next week. Hell yeah.
Chilling.
That's gonna be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash. And now, Forever, from the album Corrupt Them All by the Alex Jones Prison Planet.
You want to try to do that at the same time?
No.
You sure?
I came knocking on your door 1,000,000 times and you laughed at me. You've been in love with something else your whole life. And this is a love affair. And so, I'm not going to get in bed with you. Because you don't love the spirit of justice. You love your father, the devil. You love death more than life. So you go with your father forever. Against these people. We're turning into a bunch of self